Hey everyone, welcome to our awesome journey into the world of civil engineering. If you've ever looked around and thought, wow, how did they build that? Get ready because we're about to find out. Today we're going to explore all the different parts of this super important field. This isn't just about concrete and steel, my friends. It's about solving problems, coming up with cool new ideas, and building the amazing structures that make our world what it is. So, put on your imaginary hard hats and let's get started. First up, we have the geniuses behind the buildings we see every day, structural engineers. These are the people who make sure your house stays standing, even when things get a little crazy inside. They use physics, math, and science to design buildings, bridges, and all sorts of structures that can handle really heavy stuff. We're talking about huge weights, strong winds, even earthquakes. They're like the superheroes of stability, making sure everything stays upright and safe. They use computer programs and calculations to figure out the best materials and designs, kind of like playing a giant 3D puzzle game but with real-life buildings. And it's not just about making things strong, it's about being smart too. They're always trying to use the least amount of materials while still making sure everything is super sturdy. So next time you walk into a tall skyscraper or drive across a long bridge, take a minute to appreciate the structural engineers who made it all possible. Now, you can't have a strong building without a strong foundation, right? That's where geotechnical engineers come in. These are the ground breakers. They study the dirt and rocks below us to figure out how it will act under pressure. They're like detectives, digging deep to uncover the secrets hidden underground. They do tests, look at soil, and create models to predict how the ground will react to weight and different conditions. This is super important because building on shaky ground is a big no-no. Geotechnical engineers figure out how much weight the ground can handle and design foundations that can support the entire building on top. They also work on tunnels, walls that hold back dirt, and even landfills. It's all about working with the earth, not against it, to create structures that last a long time. So next time you see a building going up, remember that it's not just what you see above ground that matters. Okay, let's talk about the environment. Civil engineering isn't just about building new things. It's also about protecting our planet. And that's where environmental engineers come in. These are the eco-heroes, dedicated to finding ways to keep our planet healthy. They do everything from designing water treatment plants that give us clean drinking water, to finding new ways to get rid of trash and reduce pollution. Think of them as the protectors of our planet, making sure we're using its resources wisely. Environmental engineers are also leading the way in renewable energy, finding ways to use solar, wind, and water power. They're always looking for ways to make our cities and buildings more eco-friendly. So whether it's cleaning up polluted areas, reducing harmful gases, or creating green buildings, environmental engineers are super important for a healthy future. Now, let's hit the road. Transportation engineers are the ones who keep us moving. They're the brains behind our roads, bridges, airports, and buses and trains. These are the people who design traffic patterns that make sure you get from point A to point B as smoothly and safely as possible. They use computer programs to analyze traffic, design better roads, and make things safer for cars and people walking. But it's not just about cars. Transportation engineers also design bike lanes, sidewalks, and public transportation that help us rely less on cars. They do everything from planning new highways to designing super-fast trains. So next time you're driving on a highway or taking a train, give a thumbs up to the transportation engineers who made your trip possible. Water. Water everywhere. Well, it should be, right? Water resources engineers are the protectors of this precious resource, making sure we have enough clean water for drinking, watering plants, and everything in between. They design dams that hold back huge amounts of water, canals that move water across long distances, and water treatment plants that make the water from your faucet safe to drink. They're like the plumbers of our planet, managing the flow of water to keep us healthy. Water resources engineers also play a big role in preventing floods, designing barriers and other structures that protect us from rising water. They use their knowledge of water, science, and the environment to manage water wisely, making sure there's enough for everyone. They even work on restoring rivers and wetlands, creating homes for animals, and making water cleaner. So next time you take a sip of water, remember the water resources engineers who made it possible. Okay, we've talked about designing and planning, but what about actually building these amazing structures? That's where construction engineers come in. They're the ones who take the plans and turn them into real buildings and bridges. Think of them as the conductors of an orchestra, making sure everyone is working together on a construction project. They're in charge of schedules, budgets, and making sure everything is built safely and correctly. Construction engineers are great at solving problems and staying calm when things get tough. They're always looking for ways to work faster, reduce waste, and finish projects on time and within budget. They're the ones who make dreams come true, and they do it with skill and precision. Cities are like giant puzzles, with millions of pieces that need to fit together perfectly. Urban engineers are the master puzzle solvers, designing the roads, buildings, parks, and systems that make our cities great places to live. They do everything from planning new neighborhoods to improving old structures to handle more people. They're always thinking about how to make transportation better, manage traffic, and create places where people can walk safely. Urban engineers also play a big role in designing eco-friendly cities, adding green spaces, using renewable energy, and finding efficient ways to handle waste. They're at the forefront of using technology to make cities smarter and better places to live. It's a challenging job, but the rewards are huge because urban engineers directly impact the lives of millions of people. The coast is a beautiful and ever-changing environment, but it can also be dangerous. Coastal engineers are the brave ones who build along the edge of the sea, protecting our shores and creating structures that can handle the ocean's power. They design seawalls that stop waves, jetties that prevent erosion, and breakwaters that create safe harbors for ships. They're experts in understanding how waves, tides, and other forces shape our coastlines. Coastal engineers also play a crucial role in protecting coastal communities from hurricanes and rising sea levels. They design escape routes, build barriers to stop storm surges, and develop plans to reduce the impacts of climate change. They're the protectors of our shores, making sure we can continue to enjoy the beauty and resources of the ocean. Earthquakes are one of nature's strongest forces, capable of shaking buildings to the ground. Earthquake engineers are the ones who design structures that can survive these events, saving lives and minimizing damage. They study earthquakes, analyzing fault lines, ground motion, and how structures behave during these events. They use this knowledge to develop building codes and design structures that can absorb the energy of an earthquake and move with the ground instead of breaking. Earthquake engineers use special materials and building techniques to create buildings that are both strong and flexible. They design base isolators that act like shock absorbers, reducing the shaking and protecting the building above. They strengthen concrete columns with steel bars, making them stronger and more flexible. The work of earthquake engineers is incredibly important for saving lives and protecting our world from the devastating effects of earthquakes. Sometimes, things don't go as planned. Structures collapse, accidents happen, and it's up to forensic engineers to figure out why. They're like detectives, investigating why structures fail and accidents occur. They analyze evidence, talk to witnesses, and conduct experiments to find the root of the problem. Their findings are used to improve safety rules, prevent future accidents, and hold people responsible. Forensic engineers work on a wide range of cases, from bridges collapsing to airplane crashes to problems with products. They use their knowledge of engineering, materials, and failure analysis to piece together what went wrong. Their work is crucial for ensuring justice, improving safety standards, and preventing future disasters. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the different areas of civil engineering. We've covered a lot, from tall skyscrapers to the depths of the ocean. We've seen how civil engineers are shaping our world, creating structures that are both useful and amazing to look at. We hope you found it informative and inspiring. If you're interested in a career that combines creativity, technical skills, and a passion for making a difference, then civil engineering might be the perfect fit for you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos. And until next time, keep on building.